You guys remember when I told you that my username used to be Avenger of Angels, right? Well, listen to this.
One of the roles of a righteous government is to be a, quote, terror to bad conduct. Bro, this is really interesting. So I was watching Christians react to the Charlie Kirk memorial a couple weeks ago, and Stephen Miller got up, and Stephen Miller, to my knowledge, is not a Christian, but Stephen Miller got up, and he was he was like fiery, and he was speaking to the type of people that assassinated Charlie Kirk, and he was like, it was essentially like we will hunt you down, we will give you no rest.
The light will defeat the dark. We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil.
Essentially, it was an intentionally terrifying and intimidating speech. And I saw some well-meaning but naive Christians saying, man, the rest of this thing felt very Christian. But when he's giving this intimidating speech, it wasn't very Christian. I actually, even though Stephen Miller is not a Christian, the principles he was articulating, they're actually very Christian. That actually a righteous government exists to be a terror to those who do wrong. So verse 3, would you have no fear of the one who is in authority? Then do what's good, and you'll receive his approval. Okay? Now verse 4, for he is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, this is a biblical command. If you do wrong, be afraid. Yeah. The civil magistrate, the governing authority, in part exists to create a society in which people are terrified of doing wrong things. Be afraid. Why? For he does not bear the sword in vain. And listen, here's the big idea. It's not out of hatred for the one who did the wrong. It's out of love for the people who didn't. It's justice for the person who is robbed of a loved one. And it's to exist as a severe fear of God repellent to anyone practicing that behavior in the future. This is why, and I know this sounds like, that feels like a lot. The death penalty administered under the Old Testament, they were public executions. And that's, reading this book, that's how the death penalty was originally administered in the United States under a very predominantly Christian leadership. Now, last thing that it says here, for he is the servant of God, an avenger who carries out God's wrath on the wrongdoer. So there it is. I mean, you got it right there. One of the roles of a righteous...
And there you have it. Word for word out of the Bible, my friends. Are you going to be a wimp? Or are you going to be one of the Avengers? Let me know in the comment section.